Once at a place called Nurarumba lived a person called Ganji and his children, and a man called Wurpan with his children. The men were brothers-in-law. One day Ganji and his children went down to fish for stingray. When they got to the salt water, they saw the water was clean and clear to the bottom. It was easy to see all types of stingrays, which they started to spear as they walked through the water up to their knees. After spearing the stingrays, they went back to shore and started gathering firewood and cooking the stingrays, separating the meat from the fat. They grabbed some bark and wrapped up the meat and the fat and went back to the camp where Wurpan and his children were. When they got to the camp, they sat down, and Ganji called out to the Wurpan children to get their share. But when they had separated the fat and the meat, they had kept the sweet fresh ones for themselves and gave the old bits to Wurpan and his family. So one of the Wurpan children ran over and grabbed the bark parcel of stingray and took it over to his father, who quickly untied it. When he opened it, he noticed that he and his family had been given old stingray pieces. And then he said they must have kept the fresh sweet ones for themselves. So they ate what they had been given, and then afterwards Wurpan stood up and said to the other family, "You gave me and my kid old stingrays, while you and your families had the fresh ones." So they started arguing. Ganji said, "You should have gone stingray fishing for yourselves." So they argued and argued and argued, until Ganji grabbed a handful of hot coals and threw them at Wurpan. He turned around and grabbed a small rock called babura, which he used for grinding cycad nuts. He threw it at Wurpan and hit him right in the chest. Then Ganji started jumping around in fear of what Wurpan might do to him. From jumping, he started flying higher and higher. As he flew, he turned into a Jabiru without a beak and flew away. Then Wurpan told his children to bring him his spear. He tried pointing the spear up in the air where Ganji was, but he noticed the spear was too long because it was bending backwards. So he told his children to bring a sharp rock to cut the spear shorter. The second time he aimed, it was just right. He aimed at Ganji and said to the spear, "Please don't let me miss." He threw the spear up into the sky where Ganji was flying around. The spear went right through Ganji, from his behind through to his face, until it poked out, making a beak. Ganji fell from the sky and landed at a place called Nurarumba. Wurpan said to his children, "Let's get out of here while we are still alive. Come on, as fast as we can. We'll head towards emuandjabiru." As they were running, they started to change into emus. That made them move faster. Their feathers were grey because of the ash that Ganji threw, and they had a bump on their front where the stone had hit. Today, Yolyu remember this story in the way they cook Wurpan meat in the fire. They always half-cook it, wiping off the ash before they eat it. That's the story of the emu and the Jabiru. Today, the emu has eggs the same shape as the rock that hit him.